We don't do this by just letting it happen, and then I make a decision, and then it's identified that this is the way the neighborhood council is proving. So with that said, if you get the opportunity, please read this. I'll give you a minute or so to read the full motion as put forth by the president of Harbor City. And I have a request from Dunn also that I'll share with you that I got a little bit ago. And I'll also entertain a question about it. So,
are we going to move it first?
well, I want people to have the opportunity to read it.
Mm-hmm.
So
while he's waiting for people to read it, students, we've got to all your names. You could lower your hands. Thank you. Ray, is there anybody from Dunn on our call? I see some phone numbers and I don't know if any of them are from Empower LA.
I do not.
Okay, so Julian and Octaviano are not here.
You're recording the meeting now?
Yeah, we forgot to push record. I just did.
Okay. Yeah.
You're
Thanks,
really
Cheryl.
not clear what happened though, and why they're asking us to be involved.
Okay, people, let's use the raise hand, please. So Melanie has her hand up, Ray, if you want to.
Melanie, question?
Yeah. So from what I understand, it was just an incident between Harbor City and Dunn. I know that there are powers that be within the city council, neighborhood council system and all of that within a lot of the Empower LA rules. Wouldn't the first step for them to do is to do some sort of mediation between the neighborhood council and Dunn to work it out before escalating it to like the next level?
That is a good question. It's an option, but it's not something that's in place, for them. They have to do that. But it's a good option.
Rather than involving all the other neighborhood councils in it at this time, because they weren't privy to the whole situation.
Right.
Doug, this motion, not Danielle.
Cheryl, I think you said something that was kind of.
Doug actually brought this motion, not Danielle.
I think he wrote it for Danielle.
Yes,
He
that's
wrote
correct.
Hank, not for Danielle. Whatever.
So, so anyway, we do have a motion. It came from Hank. If someone wants to make a motion to consider it, then we can have a little bit more discussion on it.
Motion.
Pardon me?
Who was that?
I'm making the motion to consider.
Okay, Gwen, do we have a second?
Mary Chan was second.
Mary Chan, okay. Discussion?
Okay, I can't raise my hand because I'm a co-host, Ray, but I don't even want to consider this motion until we have the ability to hear both sides of the story. I was contacted by somebody who has a different, on the other side of this. And at the time I told her, I'm sorry, I don't really like to interfere with other neighborhood council issues, although I like to support our sister councils. But at this time, there's no way that I could weigh in on this without hearing the rest of it, kind of what Melanie was saying.
Okay.
And I forgot to mention earlier, any attendee, if you want to ever speak on or ask a question, you can raise your hand virtually and we will call on you. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that. And Mary now has her hand up.
Mary?
Are you able to share what had happened? Because I don't.
Essentially, it was the issue was calling a special meeting. It was,
Yes.
and the special meeting was called by a member of the neighborhood council on an action that needed to be considered because it's debatable whether it's time sensitive. and it was felt that maybe a special meeting was not necessary because there was plenty of time to do this. So it's there was a rendering of a or I should say there was I'm not sure that it was a recommendation, but there was a direction that was suggested based on what their bylaws stated, and that information came from the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, and it kind of went against what the other party felt like it was necessary at the time. The incident is very much, has multiple layers on it, to be honest with you. That's why, in my opinion, and I'll share it, as I stated earlier, I think this is something that's best resolved between the neighborhood council and done, at least in the beginning, to see where that might take it. So kind of similar to what Melanie was indicating, another, a discussion occurring between the two. So that's kind of just the way I felt about it. And then Lori indicates we're only hearing one side of what the issue was. Any discussion?
I don't see any other hands raised, Ray, and it's not that I disagree with this. I just think in all fairness that we should hear another. Oh, a hand just popped up. Gwen?
So once again, what you're saying is that the neighborhood council and that particular member has not actually tried to resolve this one-on-one with Dunn. Is that what you're saying?
The neighborhood council resolving it with Dunn.
Okay, all right.
Not individual, just the neighborhood council.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah. Any other discussion?
No, there's no other hands up.
Okay. With that, we have a motion, we have it seconded, discussion has concluded. So.
I raise my hand.
Oh, there you go. Okay, Armando.
Armando, do you have at the bottom of your screen on the right-hand side, okay, where it says raise hand function, so I know when you want to speak?
It doesn't work.
And I don't have it on mine. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
When you click on participants, on the very bottom where it says participants, in the
Yes.
middle, okay, if you click on that, then it opens up the ability for you to raise your hand.
It has to be on panelist.
Okay.
They are panelists.
Yeah, I know, but they could actually still be selected for attendees.
No, you need to.
They're in here. They just go down to participants, open it up, and then it says raise hand, lower hand.
There, Armando.
Armando, now you got it. Yay! It's
Thank
because
you.
it's Veterans Weekend. Go ahead, Armando.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, Armando.
This seems to be, there seems to be some sort of, the way that last paragraph is worded, it sounds like there's pretty serious business between the neighborhood council and the empowerment staff. How many people in the empowerment staff are they talking about? 2, 3, 1? They don't give details on it.
Yes,
No.
you're right.
It'd be nice to know, to get some information.
Good points. Thank you, Armando. Were you through with your comment, by the way?
Sure, yes.
Okay, thank you, Armando.
You're welcome. Thanks for allowing me to speak. Appreciate it.
So with that, I think we need to move on. So I'd like to take the vote. Cheryl?
Okay. Is Rock here?
Yes.
Yeah, abstain.
Oh, okay. I looked on the list and I couldn't find you. Okay, abstain. Armando?
Yes.
John Barbera?
Yes.
Mary?
Abstain.
Braun?
No.
John DeMeglio still not here. Cynthia? Cynthia?
I'm sorry, is a yes or no for which one? Yes, you want the letter? And
Yeah,
no-
yeah, yes will indicate, and maybe I should have cleared that up. Thank you for asking. Yes will indicate that we support the motion here. No, we don't support it, and perhaps maybe other avenues should be pursued for before we get to this point.
Okay, then no.
Gwen?
No.
Lori?
I'm gonna abstain.
Jan?
Abstain.
Melanie?
No.
Kelly?
No.
Can Alec vote or not?
Yes, it's not a financial matter.
Yes.
Pardon
I'll
me?
abstain.
Ray?
No.
Chris?
No.
Sickening.
Cheryl, I heard, I think I heard you say something. I wasn't sure what. Cheryl?
Okay, the motion does not pass.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The motion does not pass. You have 2 yes, 6 no, and 5 abstain.
Okay. Thank you. Let's move on.
Go ahead, Ray.
There, I was looking for the agenda.
Oh, okay. Bonk report.
A bonk report. Okay, so as mentioned last month, we have a resolution, and it is the digital communication policy. It's a multiple page policy recommendation. There it is right there. And it is something that Bonk is actually asking people to read and provide feedback. I would like to know exactly how you all feel about this. Now, some of this may resonate with people, others it can be, and I believe Lori mentioned this last time. It's very detailed, very legalese type document, but we are looking for feedback from neighborhood councils. So I would ask that you look at the policy and read it and provide me in writing what your recommendations or what your questions are or where your concerns are. We will be considering this, taking input through into January, and we will make a decision at that point. But I want to truly represent what you all are feeling about this. And some of you, I think, are very, in tune to this type of document. Especially, it deals a lot with social media aspects. I heard one representative from Neighborhood Council say that 80% of it it's okay, but there may be pieces of it that might rub people a little bit differently, and we have been getting input on this. So I ask you to read. If you have feelings about it, please share with me what those feelings are so I can accurately represent how you all are feeling about this piece of this policy.
So does that mean we're not going to actually discuss it now because it's so involved? Just email you.
It's a very involved
Okay.
piece, and I think people have different feelings about it.
Okay.
Will be another reminder next month, just
Okay.
to remind people, but please do what you can. I see a couple of hands raised.
Yeah, but you just said we're not going to discuss it.
Well, let's just see what they have to say. Maybe they have a comment.
Okay, Melanie, go ahead. You're first.
Yeah, I actually sat down and spent some time looking at it. The 11 pages. I actually read it, and I let Ted read it too. It's not severe. It's not bad. I really stand by my feelings, though, that for someone for me, because I've worked in the legal office and worked in a place where to understand some of the lingo, for the person that's got, understands some of the wording, it's fine. But for the average Joe to sit down and read it, there's a lot of big words and a lot of very in-depth lingo in it. And they really need to, this is fine. They can have this on record,
Melanie,
but they need
Ray's
a one-page do or don't.
saying just email him with your comments.
They need a one-page do or don't.
Right, so
Thank
just
you.
email him. Gwen, is it quick or can you just email Ray?
It's super quick and it's a general thing. So once again, this is intended to address a portion of outreach and social media for the most part really hasn't been addressed in a cohesive manner. Is that the situation? So they're trying to come up with a really cohesive policy that everybody, and a standardization that everybody can abide behind, Is that the situation?
Yes, it is.
Yes, yes.
Ray, I will go ahead and email you as outreach chair and outreach team. This affects us probably more than anybody. And I agree with Melanie. We just need a one-page do or don't. I don't get paid enough at this job to have to understand 11 pages, but I will email you. Thank you for doing that, Ray.
Okay, I don't think I see any other hands or anything, so we're gonna move on.
Okay, you've got on elected officials, you have Joanna Rodriguez. So I've just promoted her to panelist so we could see her if she wants to show herself.
Joanna, it's on you now.
Hi.
Hi, Joanna.
Hi. Oh, Lori, so good to see you.
Good to see you
And of
too.
course, everyone else. Lori, I know we've been texting and messaging a lot. So hello, everyone. I know
Feeling better?
Oh, I'm feeling so much better. So for those that don't know, I was actually out sick for about 2.5 months. I'm doing a lot better. So that's why there wasn't someone that was coming to the meetings, but I'm happy now that I'm healthy to just be, joining this meeting. Usually this specific meeting has always been really hard for me to attend. And that's because Mondays we have staff meetings in late afternoon, which made it really almost impossible for me to make it to the meetings on time. So these Zoom meetings have actually been a blessing because now I can come to the meetings. So I won't take too much of your time, but I do want to just go over some things. The biggest thing right now that I do want to just talk about is COVID. We've been seeing a huge, we've been seeing an uptick in COVID cases in the county. I mean, honestly, we're seeing cases throughout the country increasing. And I just want to remind everyone that to avoid any large crowds, we're in LA County, these are numbers as of Friday, we have 317,000 cases countywide. In the city of LA, we have 130,000 cases. Just Friday alone, we had over 1,000 cases. So we are definitely seeing an increase. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of, factors that are coming into, making this increase. One of the reasons we're thinking is that the celebrations for, the Lakers, and also we had a lot of large crowds when the Dodgers won. As you guys know, and I know, go Dodgers. Even though, as you know, the mayor's a big Dodger and Laker fan, we are not doing an official celebration. We are hopefully when things slow down, maybe in the future, but as of right now, the message is that people should not be congregating. We updated the safer at home order a couple of weeks back, and basically what the order now does, it allows for households for private gatherings up to 3 households. And this doesn't mean that it's, one day I'm gonna gonna have barbecue with Ray's family and Lori's, and then the next one is gonna be with Gwen and Armando. It does not work. You have to kind of be picky and choose your families, and you got to stick with them because again, we're seeing that increase, and it kills me when I'm putting together those emails that I send out every week, and I'm seeing that increase. So like I said, in the city of LA, we have 130,000. In San Pedro, these numbers do include the numbers in Terminal Island. That's 2,100 cases.
Oh.
And again, these are numbers from Friday. I'm pretty sure if I look, it's going to be at 2,200. Again, our young population are the ones that are congregating. So I am trying to, especially, I'm so happy that you guys have a youth sitting in the board. It's really, really important that you guys, that as a youth, that you're talking to your peers, as parents, as grandparents, that you communicate and take a minute just to talk about the seriousness. One thing that people are not talking about are the long-term effects. And people are suffering through memory loss, long-term congested, long-term chest issues.
Respiratory.
I'm sorry?
Respiratory.
Thank you, respiratory, thank you. So people are not talking about long-term effects, and it's really important that we're not doing that mistake and just, someone gets sick and they get better in 2 weeks, and 2 weeks, couple months later, they're facing long-term effects. So just wanted to give you guys that reminder. I do send a couple of email every month. So Ray, Lori, if you guys can do me the favor, just making sure that everyone gets it on the board. This is last month, but as you guys all know, Department of Transportation did resume enforcement in our streets. I was super excited because when I came back, our streets were very, very dirty. And I mean, it was just unacceptable. And this is definitely has been helping our issue around sanitation. One thing that I was a bit disappointed was that there was a delay in impounding vehicles used for dwelling. There's kind of, we're trying to help our homeless individuals, but one of the things that I keep hearing in emails that I'm getting is that we're getting our homeless folks that are living in the vehicles that are collecting a lot of items, and it's going beyond their cars. And again, I'm getting several emails from residents from San Pedro. So there is a regulation by the CDC that is limiting us on basically limiting us in moving anyone that is in a homeless encampment or even in their vehicles. So that is kind of one of the reasons where that you're seeing larger encampments. There's a lot of things happening in council. So they're thinking about resuming cleaning around the bridge homes, around like other specific areas. So that's still up in the air. So as soon as I get more information, I'll definitely make sure to come and report, or I'll include it in those emails that I send out, so you all are up to date on that. And I do just want to remind everyone that if there is a vehicle that's been sitting in front of your house for months. I mean, I did a drive. I saw cars that collected dust, spider webs all over them, to call the 1-800 number. That's 1-800-222-6336. Ray, I'll make sure to send you a written report, and it includes that phone number so you can share with everyone. Also, it kind of ties in with COVID, that we're in flu season right now. Throughout the city, we've actually partnered with USC to bring flu vaccines all in throughout the city. So in CD15, we're going to be in the Watts area. It's going to be both COVID and flu shots starting tomorrow and on Saturday. And last we were in Wilmington. So if you guys are interested in bringing COVID testing. I know that organized by the community. I'm happy to also organize one. I'm a big believer that, you know, we have to bring things to the community. And we saw that with like the census. So if you guys are interested, let me know. I'm happy to, you know, jump on a call and we can invite other stakeholders from San Pedro to make sure that that happens. But like I said, we are seeing an uptick. Right now, our focus is in the Valley because that's where we're seeing the numbers increase. So again, I'm keeping a close eye in our communities in CD15. But in terms of the flu shot, in terms of the flu, we are trying to avoid a double pandemic. So please make sure to go get your flu shot. Yeah, you guys can go to coronavirus.lacity.org/flu shot to look up your local clinic so you can get a flu shot. And then, what is the most recent thing? And then in terms of, LADWP is offering grant. It's a one-time $500 check for people that were impacted by COVID-19. So the application actually opened last Monday and they're open until November 15th. So if you know anyone, any like resident in San Pedro that is low income and is struggling to pay their bills, they can apply for this grant. They will be prioritizing people that are registered with, that are part of the Utility Cares Grant under DWP. But again, this funding came from, is drawn from the Federal CARES Act. So it's money coming from the from the federal government, and we have to spend it by the end of this year. So that's why we're trying to make sure that that we're coming to the neighborhood councils and letting you guys know. So again, people are struggling and people need help with paying the bills. So that information, you guys can go to LADWP Cares. You'll find more information and information on some of the requirements. And that's about it in terms of just my general updates.
Thank you, Joanna. That was very comprehensive, and your weekly comprehensive emails are greatly appreciated. I go through them, Christina and I both go through them. We post them on our social media. We post them in our e-blast newsletters. So we really appreciated the flu shots, got mine. We posted that. I saw the Wilmington COVID testing. I just want to clarify one thing. You said flu shots and you said COVID shots, but there's no COVID shots. You meant COVID testing.
Oh, no, COVID testing. Oh my
Okay, I just want to clarify because you said shot, because I'll have everybody calling us going, where do we get our COVID shots?
No, not yet. There
Okay.
are some, there's a lot of trials right now.
Right, but nothing announced yet, so don't. Okay, just want to make sure. I don't want to get a million emails here. And
thank you, Lori.
Yeah, no problem. We posted the LADWP grant program. We've really been trying to do outreach, and your weekly detailed emails, while they're really long, they're really informative, and greatly appreciate the information. Thank you, Joanna. Keep them coming. And we have a hand from Gwen.
Gwen, go ahead.
Hi, Joanna. Yeah, you and I talked so long ago about hitting the streets and doing the census, and everything blew up after that, so which was really unfortunate. But can you talk a little bit about the census numbers and how that really resulted? And if you could repeat that number on vehicles collecting dust. I didn't catch that. If you could repeat that number, that would be great.
Yes, of course. So I'll start with the phone number just because I have it in front of me. And that number is, okay. That number is, okay, no, that's not it. I have it with me, just bear with me. Okay. That number is 1-800-222-6336. Again, 1-800-222-6336. I would also encourage you all to go to ladot.lacity.org. Again, it's ladot.lacity.org. If for any reason anyone is struggling to pay a ticket that they got from the city of LA, we have a couple of programs that are available to help anyone that's low income, to help them pay back their ticket. Also, there are some programs to assist and waive some of the debt. So please don't wait. Don't procrastinate, and just go and reach out to the city if you do have an outstanding test. In terms of the census, and I can give, if it's okay, I can give you a little bit more details, because there is, I believe there's some map available where we can actually go and show the response rate. So I'm going to look for it, and I'm happy, if it's okay, next month to give you guys, go through that map with you all. But just like general information around the census, I mean, we had before COVID, there was like a set deadline, and after the pandemic, there was, the date was kind of up in the air. It was September, then October. The last thing, it was supposed to end October 31st, but the Trump administration ended earlier, so it was 2 weeks before the intended deadline. So it kind of left cities across the country to figure out, put in place strategies to count as many people as possible. So what I did, my two hotspot areas in CD15 were Wilmington and Watts. So I called emergency meetings with stakeholders in a day to come up with events that week, because we all know in this call the importance of the census. So in Wilmington, I reached out to, of course, Council District 15, Congressman Barragan's office, and we partnered with a local nonprofit, and we went out to the local supermarkets. And we did
Joanna,
if
I could jump in, because we're getting behind schedule, but and I did see that you did actually attend all those things, and you did get some last minute census. That was great. Is it possible you could include some of this information in the report to us, and then I could share it?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great.
Of course.
Thank you. And it's so glad to see you. So glad to see you're feeling better. That's awesome.
Thank you. Gwen, like I said, I'm happy if you want to jump on a call later, but next month I'll make sure to, I'm going to look up the website so we can go over it as a neighborhood council.
Great.
Thank you.
Joanna, if I can, maybe next time you might, if you could maybe talk a little bit about, from what I understand, there's a pilot program that's going on between the city and the county of LA regarding mental health teams that are being stationed in different places of the city. And, and one of them is right down the street, Station 36, I believe, is one of the stations that they're doing this in. Do you think maybe you can talk a little bit about that and what's that all about next time?
Yeah, definitely. I'll make sure to include some information on the written report that I send out to you, but the pilot program is not scheduled. I can talk more about it next month.
That'd be great.
Just FYI, the pilot program won't kick off until next year, and it's a 1-year program. The hope is, if it does go really well, where instead of our LAPD officers answering to calls that involve people with mental health, we would have professionals that are trained in that field to go out there. They're looking at 5 locations, at 5 fire stations. I reached out last week. We still don't know exactly what fire stations. So as soon as I know, I will let you know, but I can definitely speak on that next month. Hopefully we can get a little bit more information.
That would be great. Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't recognize any other elected officials, unless some are hiding in front of me and want to raise their hand, but I don't see any, Ray.
Actually, Octaviano, he is on the phone, and he's having problems with his internet connection. So Octaviano.
Okay. I just, do you want me to try? Oh, so I can't promote him through.
He just raised his hand.
Okay, I just allowed him to speak.
Octaviano, you're up.
I think it worked. Did it work? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, good evening, everybody. This is Octaviano with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. Sorry I have to participate via telephone here. My connection hasn't been the greatest, and I can't tell when I get cut off. So participating via phone to reduce those chances of not being able to share all of the information I have to share. And I know you're pressed with time, so I'm going to do my report as quickly as possible, and I'll try to send all the details via email as always. You know, I know we're going through some significant events in our city, in our country. I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. And then definitely thank you to the veterans on the board and the community for their service. Really do appreciate that, not only on my behalf and our family, but on behalf of the city and our department. I have a few updates here for everybody's consideration regarding the 2021 Neighborhood Council elections. And just a reminder that this Friday, November 13th, is the deadline to submit your board-approved Neighborhood Council election information worksheet to the City Clerk's Office Elections Division. So just a reminder that that sheet would specify your preferred mail ballot Dropbox location and hours, contact information for the election chair and their support person, as well as any other languages you'd want your materials to be translated into besides Spanish or Korean. For important election dates for your neighborhood council, I do have, there's a list of important dates on a sheet that the city clerk's office put together that got emailed hopefully to all of the board members. But I do want to highlight 3 distinct periods in the election cycle for you all. The candidate filing period is going to run for you in Region 12 from February 13th to March 30th of next year. The vote by mail application period will run from April 16th to June 8th of next year. And of course, election day is June 15th, which is the last election day for all neighborhood councils. So you guys are the last but not the least. If you do have any questions, comments, or need some support, you can definitely reach out to the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. But you do have the Elections Division that it has jurisdiction and responsibility to work on election matters. So that's the City Clerk's Elections Division. You can email them at clerk.electionsnc@lacity.org, or you can email your assigned election administrator. His name is Robertino Salgado, and the email it includes his name, so it's robertino.salgado@lacity.org. He does plan, as well as other staff from the division, to attend all of the neighborhood councils that are participating in neighborhood council elections. So if he hasn't reached out to you all, he will in the near future. He's starting with those that are going to be starting their elections soon. Since you guys are the last ones, you may hear from him a little later. So just keep an open ear for him. There are some funding training opportunities coming up this month for those that want a refresher or have your funding that's about to expire. To be precise, November 10th at 2 p.m. and November 24th at 10 a.m. I'll send you a link so you can RSVP. And as I reported before, the city is now requiring that all planning and land use management committee members for neighborhood council complete a 1.5 Planning 101 training session. The live ones were held, and I'm told that a pre-recorded session will be uploaded on our website in the near future. But there are some slated online trainings in this month, November 17th at 4 o'clock, November 30th at 6 p.m., and then 2 in December 11th at 2, and December 15th at 4. We don't have a link to RSVP just yet. As soon as those links are activated and ready to go, we'll shoot them out to everybody. Last but not least, I do want to remind you that you have a wonderful civilian commission named the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners. Very active. They meet several times throughout the year, and they're having a meeting that's full of very relevant information, as always. But it's probably going to be a longer meeting this time around, November 16th at 1 p.m. And some of the topics of interest will be the department budgets, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, staffing levels, other operational matters, and the 2021 Neighborhood Council elections and the proposed digital media policy. I believe that Commissioner Regalado mentioned the meeting, but just in case I didn't hear that, there's that information. That concludes my report, everybody, and happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Octaviano. Any quick questions for Octaviano? I don't see any hands going up. So Octaviano, I think you're off the hook. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it, everybody. Bye.
Take care. Okay, let me see who else. Budget representative Melanie. Do you have Melanie or Lori?
Budget advocate, budget rep. Our budget advocate, I guess, quit over, I guess, a couple months ago. We just found out at Hank. But I talked to the head of budget advocates, and she informed me that we should have been notified, but we weren't. And so that being said, what she's going to do is she's going to every month going forward for next month, send me her report that we can give to our neighborhood council until they decide what they're going to do with the open position. They've got a lot of problems going on intermittent, you know, within the budget advocate program right now.
And I have
they're trying
nothing to add to that. That's, it is what it is.
But there's a lot of, she does reports monthly, and she's got some stuff to share that we'll have for a report next month.
Okay,
Okay.
that's it.
Yep, that's it.
Thank you, Melanie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lori, for adding nothing else.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's see. First responders. I think we have the very illustrious slow Dan Brown, and is he able to share?
I moved him to panelist, so he should be able to.
I'm turning everything on now. Can you guys hear me?
We can
hear you and see you.
Okay. Oh, you can see me now too. Okay.
Yeah.
You can see me the whole time?
No, I just moved you.
Okay. I'll try to keep it brief, but we didn't have a very good October this year. Crime is up pretty big in my overall area, about 18% for Part 1 crimes. And it's not any better for the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council area. As you guys know, my patrol area includes a little bit of central, but the stats are extrapolated out so I can see just your neighborhood council area. And crime this October compared to last October was up 94%, a huge astronomical increase. I don't think I've ever seen one that big for the Northwest San Pedro area specifically. Most of that is being driven by just all kinds of crimes. In my overall area, it's almost all grand theft autos. That doubled this year compared to last year. And I wish I could get technologically savvy and bring it up, but I can't do that. I don't know how to do that, but I can just tell you the raw numbers. We had 16 stolen vehicles this year compared to 8 last year in October. And in the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council area, it was also doubled. We had 6 this year as opposed to 3 last year. But we also had big increases in things like aggravated assaults. Those more than doubled. Burglary and thefts from motor vehicles, those also doubled. Everything pretty much doubled. It was really not a good month at all. The vehicle things, those are largely driven by catalytic converter thefts. That's been an ongoing trend I've seen again and again this year. And it's not slowing down. They're starting to move into other neighborhoods, and they're hitting a lot more of neighborhoods that traditionally have pretty low crime. So That's definitely troubling, but that's not the only thing. Unfortunately, we did have 2 homicides towards the end of October. One was in coastal San Pedro area where a young woman was stabbed by another woman. She ended up dying from that injury. And then there was a shooting the very next night in the area of the Rancho San Pedro housing development, also in central San Pedro. Both of those appear to be gang-related homicides, and our investigators are working on solving those cases as we speak. But that's pretty much it. I did have one board member reach out to me regarding an incident in the area of Santa Cruz and Bandini from Saturday night. Well, it was actually early Sunday morning. There was a house party in the area over there that started Saturday night and continued into the wee hours of Sunday morning. And a young man that was, I shouldn't say young, a man in his 30s was walking away from the party, and he had been drinking, and it's unclear exactly what happened. He believes he was assaulted by 2 males and robbed, but at some point he was hit and drugged by a vehicle, believed to be driven by the assailants in that one. And so he sustained some pretty serious injuries. He was taken to Harbor UCLA Medical Center, and he's in stable condition, but he was seriously hurt by getting hit by the car. But he did not die, and it's still yet to be determined exactly what was taken from him, if anything, but it was listed as a robbery report based on his statements that he believed he had some items taken from him. But our detectives are still working on that one as well. And the last thing I want to mention before I open it up to questions, so I don't forget, is that the LAPD is going to be receiving several donations of turkeys. I don't know exactly how many, but it seems like it's going to be a lot. And I know the mayor's office isn't hoping for huge family gatherings, but I'm sure the single family homes, like just the family units, the single family units are going to want to have some sort of turkey dinner for Thanksgiving. So we're going to be partnering with some people that are donating turkeys, and we'll be giving away a lot of those. So if anybody from the Northwest board can connect with me on any families that would like and are in need this holiday season and would like a free turkey, let me know, reach out to me via email or something so we can get connected with them and let them know how we can get them a free turkey. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dan. Any quick questions for Dan?
I got my hand up.
Gwen is first and then Armando. Go ahead, Gwen.
Go ahead, Armando.
Well, thank you. Good evening, Officer Brown. How you doing?
Good evening. I'm doing well. Thank you, Armando.
I take it the reasons why the number's been going up, just using simple logic here, due to sign and release. They're doing that sign and release. These criminals have really nothing to fear. They're not worried about going to jail because they're not going to jail. So they can pick on the prey of our communities. And that's really, people have voted to give the money to somebody else, and that's going to cut down on policing. And we're going to have to deal with it. That's all we can do.
Yeah, I can't personally speak to why exactly crime's going up. That would take a lot of study, but I can say that there was recently a burglary investigation. I was working with the Beacon House crew. They have that thrift shop on Pacific and 8th. It was recently burglarized, and they had some pretty decent video. And from the video, I was able to see a really distinct tattoo on the suspect's arm. And by using that video, we were able to identify the suspect, and he was taken into custody a few days after the incident. And I can tell you, yeah, even though he broke in and he took their cash register and some expensive equipment, he was let go within I would say about less than 2 hours of when he was taken to the station. So, I mean, it's definitely something where people that are offending are being released into the community again right away. I can definitely confirm that. We cite and release, as you say, is definitely happening. But I mean, whether that's pushing up crime, I can't say for certainty, but I can't imagine it's helping either. Just like you said, by common sense. So
yeah, they have nothing to fear.
Yeah, some of them behave that way. Yeah, certainly.
Gwen, you're up.
In regards to things like the catalytic converter thefts and things like that, I'm sure that camera video will help you guys a lot. Well, first, are you getting any results in being able to track these people down? And secondly, is there anything as far as a camera that you're on your wish list as to, like, I would like to put one on the street and really be able to get license plates and that kind of thing and the direction in which they leave. But do you have any tips and pointers that if people invest in security cameras to help you guys?
Yes, absolutely. We always encourage people to put in security cameras in front of their property. We want it, looking at the property, like from, covering the front door, the back door and stuff, but also the street, like you mentioned. Picking up vehicle descriptions is very, very helpful. The problem is that unless it's a really good camera system, it can be super difficult for them to pick up a license plate from the distance of, you can imagine on the front of your garage or something, just looking out into the street. By the angle you'd have to have the camera to catch the license plate is such that it can't be staring straight at the street. It's got to be kind of angled. And when you do that, the distance that the vehicle is away from the camera is pretty far. So there are cameras that can pick up license plates, but usually the ones that people get aren't quite high definition enough, or they're not clear enough to usually get a good plate. But nonetheless, we can usually get a pretty decent vehicle description, a really obvious make and model, and some distinct characteristics like stickers or rims or broken window, or something like that we can help identify the car. The problem is with these catalytic converter thefts specifically, we're getting a lot of different vehicles that are being used. There's numerous crews operating, and it's just very difficult to track them all down. They may be even switching vehicles, using other vehicles. I don't know. As you can see, we have a big increase in catalytic converter thefts, but also stolen vehicles. Those are out of control this year. So it's quite possible. In fact, there was one BFMV investigation I was working where we did get a license plate, and I went to go follow up to that person's house, and their license plates were missing off their car. And come to find out, they had reported theirs missing. And so people are stealing cars, and they're stealing license plates off of cars to go commit other crimes. And so it does make it very difficult for us to really prove who's the actual perpetrator.
Dan, thank you so much. I understand that. We still have 24 items left that our board needs to vote on. So I'm going to ask our board members to consider, if you have any questions that you could ask offline and email to people, let's do that, because we want to end on time, and we want to give these other motions ample time to discuss. And thank you so much, Dan.
I'm always available to
Safe
be
out there. We appreciate it.
Phone and email. Thank you,
Thanks.
Lori. Good night, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Okay, we're down to no presentations, public comment. The public is invited to speak on this.
Ray.
I'm sorry?
CPAB report.
Oh, CPAB. I was kind of hidden there. Okay. CPAB, Melanie.
Bring it up, Cheryl. It's under public safety folder online.
I didn't do that. I will get it.
It's real simple. Basically, what they had said at CPAB was Harbor area was second in LA City in crime reduction. We're down by 12.8. That was last month, though, on Thursday, October 15th. The vehicles were up. Even the last 3 months, Myler to 10th Street Craft. The biggest thing that I wanted to bring to our attention is they're going to start, because of the money cut and the resources and all of that, the decisions made by city council, reduction of the front desk offices are going to be Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5. Low priority calls are going to be outsourced. And they will be reported and completed online. So there's a website on the LAPD website. You go there and you can file your reports, like an accident or anything like that. Or if you've had a theft of your vehicle or vandalism, you just go online and fill out your police report. The LAPD responding to homeless and mental illness, Hope Team non-criminal, they're going to be outsourced. And the main remark was, until another agency is found and up and running, the captain said public safety need will be met and time is essential, and responding in LAPD is the agency until such a time as the positions are up and running and filled. And that's it.
Thank you, Melanie. I thought I saw a hand raised. Gwen, was your hand raised?
Melanie, would you be able to elaborate on what the importance is on doing those reports, even for minor things?
What now? Oh, as far as to file the reports? Yes, because what's happening, and the captain really stressed this, is that if they don't see reports and generate a report, I mean, for everything, they need to do reports, that they'll see a less need for staffing for our harbor division. And as it is already, we only share six vehicles for all of CD15 area, for Harbor City, Wilmington, Harbor Gateway, us, Coastal, Central. There's car share for, reporting for crimes. And so because of that, it's important to keep those cars and maybe even get more, if at all possible, for patrols, because but if they see that we aren't reporting stuff, they're going to yank them, and we're going to get less and less coverage if people just consider Facebook the place to report stuff and not actually doing an actual report with LAPD.
So file those reports,
Yep.
share with other people, file those reports. It's real important.
Okay, I don't see any other hands.
No.
So thank you, Melanie. Appreciate the report. No presentations. Again, public comment for non-agenda items. Non-agenda items. So the public is invited to speak on issues of general interest during the public comment period. Comments during the specific agenda item will be heard only. Public comment shall be limited to 2 minutes per speaker, unless it's modified by me. The chair may establish a maximum length of time for all public speakers as needed. The public is requested to dial *9 if you're on the telephone, or raise your hand if you're on the computer when prompted by the presiding officer to address the board on non-agenda items before the board takes action on the items. So I see a couple hands that are up.
Do you want to start with attendees or panelists?
Well, let's go with the attendees.
Okay. And just so you know, I've got the 2-minute timer going. So Vic, go ahead.
Okay, I typed some of this into the chat part, but I just wanted to say it verbally in case people hadn't seen that yet. We heard about the flu and COVID-19 earlier. I just wanted to let people know that if you donate blood through the Red Cross, I don't know if this is true through like hospitals and things like that, but if you donate through the Red Cross, they will do a COVID-19 antibodies test as part of their processing of your donation. And if you have the Red Cross's blood donor app on your phone, the results of that test will show up in the app. And I'm trying to see if I can find anything about that on their website. If I do, I'll post that in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you, Victor. And if you could send it to me, then I could put it through outreach. That would be great. Okay, Gwen, the clock is starting. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm hoping that maybe you can do a quick screen share just for half a second.
For what? It's public
because-
comment.
Gwen is not public, by the way.
Yeah, this is public comment on non-agenda items.
Yeah, this is a non-agenda item.
But this is,
She has-
Ray, this is supposed to be at the end of the meeting when
Yes.
there's board comments on non-agenda items.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. That takes care of public comment. We're going to move
Yes.
on to consent calendar.
Okay.
Okay, we have 4 items for the consent calendar: approval of the board meetings for October 2020. Approval to appoint Andrenita Reyes Cruz to the Youth and Outreach Committee. Remove George Thompson from Bylaws and Elections Committee. And finally, to approve appointment of Mary Chan to the Sustainability Committee. I'll take a motion.
Motion to.
Is that
I second.
okay?
That's Gwen and Melanie, Cheryl.
There you go. Any discussion? No discussion? Cheryl, could you please take the roll? Or
Rock,
Yes.
Armando,
He said yes.
okay. John Barbera,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jan, Jan.
She's froze,
Uh-oh.
I think.
I'll come back to her. Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Yes.
Ray.
Oh, that's
That
Jan.
was Jan, yeah. Okay. Ray,
yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay. Committee reports. Budget and Finance.
Okie dokie. So first thing is, this is not out of committee because it wasn't ready. If Cheryl, if you want to pull up the MER. So this is the MER. The grants still say 3,000 because we're waiting because we have a motion on here before she fixes it for us at the city clerk's office. We're going to wait and see what happens with this motion tonight that's later on this agenda. So otherwise, we only had one expense, and that was for $390 for the office for Christina. And that's it. Scroll down, please. To the bottom.
That is it.
Yeah, okay. And that's it. So, and that leaves a balance. Go up just a tiny bit. A balance of 36,685.12.
You need to make a motion because
I need a motion. A motion to accept the October MER.
And second it.
Okay, did I hear a first?
Somebody to move it first.
Okay, first.
Okay, Gwen,
I'll second, Mary.
Mary, second.
Okay, any discussion?
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote. Okay, so Rock,
Yes.
is Armando here? Oh, there he is. Armando? Armando? John?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
John DeMego absent. Dan Dixon absent. Cynthia?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Jan? Jan? She's froze. Melanie?
Yes.
Oh, did she say yes?
Yes. 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 Why isn't anybody hearing me?
Something's going on with your internet. Kelly
Yes.
and Ray
Yes.
and
What
Chris.
about Melanie and Chris?
Chris? I got Melanie and then Chris.
Yes.
And what about
The other two aren't eligible.
Armando?
Armando,
No.
I didn't get. Armando. He's not answering.
I'll just say he's out or absent for your case.
Out. Alrighty. So next is the budget. And So the budget, basically, we only spent, like I said, the $390 dollars. The 6,000 in the grants is allocated on the budget here. No changes. So this is out of committee. So any discussion?
Yes.
Armando's saying yes. I'm not sure what he's saying yes to. What are you saying yes to?
We voted on it when you guys were calling my name.
Oh.
I had to
This
take my
is
dog
out
out
of
to the
discussion.
bathroom.
Okay, is that, okay.
What now?
He's saying yes for the.
He's voting yes on the MER.
Oh, the MER. Okay. So.
Okay, so now we're voting on the budget.
So we're on the budget now. So any discussion? If not, call for the vote. Rock?
Yes.
Armando?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. John Barbera?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
And Chris?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, next is the newsletter. So as you see on the budget here, the newsletter number 1 is 4150, that 4,150 that we already allocated. They're planning on Outreach's doing their newsletter in January or February. So this is a request to use the funds that were allocated. This is out of committee. Any discussion?
Yes, can we please vote on all 3 of these at one time?
What, the newsletter?
Yes, they're all for the newsletter. I asked that we vote for all 3 of them at one time.
All 3?
Yes.
All 3 what?
For the newsletter, you have to vote for each one.
No, you don't. Just the amount of money. I don't have
Okay,
to.
that's.
You have it broken down on the agenda and
Oh,
they
yeah.
are all separately identified as separate items. That's why she's saying that.
No, it's just the newsletter allocation.
Okay,
But it's not the way it is on the agenda.
that's,
It's not?
I put it on the agenda the way you told me to.
Let's see.
Here,
Can we
here,
move
I'll
on?
show you.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, okay.
It's fine. So, any discussion on the newsletter? If
There's-
not, Rock,
Yes.
Armando,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie, yes, Kelly,
Yes.
and Ray,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay, now the next fun part. So this is the criteria that we set up for the neighborhood purpose grants that the board decided on. And it was supposed to be about COVID.
Wait, Melanie, you're skipping
Right,
one.
I know.
Very.
So what we had allocated was $6,000. So after reviewing all the applications that we got in, and because we can't really do any events at all right now, and in the dire need that we saw in the community is asking that we increase the MPG budget to $10,000 for the COVID relief fund that we're distributing grants for, rather than the 600 or the 6,000. This is out of committee. Any discussion?
No hands raised.
No hands. Okay, that being said, call for the vote. Rock,
Yes.
Armando, you there, Armando?
Yes.
We'll wait. John Barbera,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jan. Jan?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Melanie, yes. Kelly,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Armando, are you there? Okay, we're gonna put him out then.
Okay.
So then we're on to the NPGs. Like I said, this is a spreadsheet that we did. And so based on the NPGs basis of the $10,000, Harbor Interfaith, here's their request, the breakdown of what they were requesting it for. And we suggested 1,900 for them. YMCA.
Melanie, can I jump in and help with this? Because I was part of it. Can I present this?
Yeah.
Would you mind? So Cheryl, scroll up a little bit, please. No, the other way. Scroll down, sorry. I don't know up from down. Keep going. Okay, stop. Okay, so our criteria this year for our NPGs had to do with helping people who were affected by COVID. So our committee looked at the last two, and the International Bird Rescue, while we've given them a grant in the past, this one time we felt that there's nothing they're doing that's actually helping people with COVID. The PV Land Conservancy, they said that due to COVID, they've had to get different materials for their third grade program, and we definitely agree that's great. So what the budget committee decided as our recommendation is that we just honor them with $500 this time, and then split the remaining money from the 10,000 evenly between the 5 other organizations that are all evenly worthy of great work that they have done with free meals, helping with domestic violence, etc. So I thought maybe we could kind of streamline that and first see if you agree with perhaps 0 for the bird rescue, 500 for PV Land Conservancy, and spreading the money evenly.
Yeah, and it just only to be fair, because they're all just as equally eligible, you know, except for the last 2 we were having a hard problem with, because with the criteria that we set up for the grants. And so that being said, is there any comments on this? We're gonna approve this basically just as a vote, as this whole column, unless somebody has any objections.
You have a hand from Gwen.
Gwen?
Did the Land Conservancy and the International Bird Rescue give you any information on the impact on their funding and donations based on COVID? Because it does impact.
It's written right there on, that's what they, and the applications were on our website for everybody to review.
What I meant was, did they say specifically if their funding has been reduced for the year? Because
they did not.
For our for COVID relief, it was how they were impacting and helping the community for COVID relief.
I understand. I just wondered if that was how they.
Oh, everybody is. I mean, they're impacted on money.
Even if they had, Gwen, it still doesn't negate the fact that this is for this go round, and we could do another go round. We decided that helping human beings from domestic violence, having meals, having clothes, are a top priority.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's I mean, all of these are worthy. It's, you know, not fun to pick. So
yeah.
Any other discussion? Anybody?
So you're saying we could do one vote with the right-hand column?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So
no hands up.
No hands up. Then we're going to call for the vote. So for the $10,000 distribution, Rock?
Yes.
Armando? He's out again. John?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Cynthia? Cynthia?
Sorry, yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Jan?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Awesome. Then that's that, and they're all approved.
Thanks, everybody, for all the support.
So,
All right, elections and bylaws, Braun or Diana?
Ron's going to give the report.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to take things a little bit out of order just for time's sake. If we take a look at the first thing, the proposed standing rule, this is an issue right now because 2 of the 3 members of the board are potentially up for re-election. And we have a standing rule which indicates that, you know, if those individuals on the board are seeking election, they basically can't be on the board. Now, the other neighborhood councils don't have that rule. So the move is to suspend it because we can't make a change to our bylaws now in time for the next election since the city requires us to do so. So the proposal out of committee is that the proposed standing rule, which indicates the rule that applies only the 2020 election shall be removed from the standing rules at time. Due to the unique circumstances surrounding the 2021 election, the bylaws provision that the elections committee be comprised of members who are not themselves candidates for the board is suspended. Just a little background, the reason we had that is because the board would run the elections themselves. Since the board is not running the election, there shouldn't be any indication of impropriety since they're hands off. That's why we're asking to suspend the rules. So again, it came out of committee. So any comments, any questions?
No comments.
Okay, then I call for a vote.
Brock,
Yes.
Armando, John,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yeah. Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie,
yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. The next item, we're taking it out of order here, is the, there we go. You got it up here, the 2021 election information worksheet. Now let's see, the one on the website has actually been filled out.
It's weird. As I'm clicking on it, it's filling things out, and then I look what it's doing because I thought, well, that's weird. It's blank, but
Well, let me walk through what is on the agenda right now. So we need to submit the form to the clerk by November 13th.
From the website, by the way.
Council is going to be for Northwest San Pedro. The Dropbox hours, the start time will be 12 p.m. end time 8 p.m. We decided to go with that 8-hour shift in order to allow those who may be working to get to that area. We felt that if we did it early in the morning, that potentially could eliminate those individuals from doing so. Again, this is mandated 8-hour shift by the city clerk. The Dropbox location, the first one is going to be at Peck Park Community Center. And the alternate facility is going to be at Deanne Dana Friendship Park. Then under the election board contact information, the chair, Diana, I'm the secondary contact. And then that will be it for that form. So does anybody have any comments or issues with the second or the alternate facility name or the Dropbox hours for the voting?
What day of the week is that Dropbox? Is that on a weekend?
It's a Tuesday. It's the date mandated by the city. We had no say in that.
I see.
So that's going to be a running theme for today. All right, any comments, any additional comments?
Actually, now that I think about it, that's going to be a concern for Dean Dana because they close the gate at a certain time. I don't think that 8 p.m. There may have to be a special concession.
The sign, currently the sign says they close the gate at 5 p.m. And that may change with the day length, but at least as of last week, it was 5.
It's our assumption that our first choice will be, we're only allowed to have one Dropbox. It's our assumption that they will go with our first choice.
Yeah, this is the alternate facility. If it does come to the fruition that for whatever reason Peck Park can't be used, then we can adjust the hours, I guess.
Or there may be a possibility that the superintendent might be able to help assist with that, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see if there's issue. There shouldn't be an issue. Obviously, we've been using the facility, so. Anything else?
Good.
All right, again, these changes came out of committee, so we're just voting to send as is by November 13th to the city clerk's office. So call for the vote.
Rock,
Yes.
Armando,
Mondo seems to have left the meeting at 8 o'clock.
John,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray, Ray,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Right. So I believe those were the only items that required a vote. Is that right, Diana? We've got some information stuff. Okay. So the rest of the informational things on the election process. Looks like what we've got right now up is the regional election timetable. Again, this has been set by the city clerk. This will provide the timeline for candidates to file their applications, challenging, et cetera, if you can go down and make anybody who is interested aware of these deadlines. Then we've also been provided, this is something that's going to be new. It's a vote by mail this year, which again, we have the Dropbox, so nobody's coming in, putting in their names and actually voting there to vote by mail. The city clerk is running it. They've put together this informational paper. It is, let's see here, the vote by mail FAQs. Can we go to that page real quick?
I don't think so.
We don't have that one handy.
You do not. It's on,
So-
again, it's on the agenda from the website, so that's what I'm.
Well, and I will get it. Hang on.
No, not from our website. We didn't have that.
Yes, it is. It's literally on
It's
your
here.
vote by. That's the one I'm getting.
I see it. Hang on.
My bad.
It- Slow. There it is.
Yeah.
Everything you ever wanted to know about neighborhood council elections, but we're afraid to ask.
Probably not everything, but enough. To be fair. Still not. There we go.
Okay.
All right. So as you can see, this is primarily due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Just goes through the facts, what they're doing with it, how it's going to occur, what we need to be aware of. And I'm trying to rush through a lot of this for time's sake. So if you have any questions, you can contact us. And then let me give out the name also of the individual who is our contact at the city clerk's office. It's Robertino Salgado. I know he came to our bylaws committee, and I think he might have also come to outreach. Is that right?
No,
Oh, he did not. Okay.
no, but I thought that we were supposed to do all of our questions through you and Diana, and you were going to communicate with Robertino. Do I have that wrong?
No, I think you're right, Paul.
If you want to, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robertino's not involved with the outreach part really, so.
Okay. And then finally, we just have the basically the minutes. What was happening? Apparently, the voting can be live streamed.
Hold on, Bron, just
Yeah.
really quick, for all of the student attendees, can you encourage them to vote? Yeah, give the age that they can participate.
16.
That's 16, correct?
So students, share the wealth, share the word.
So, I mean, we'll be providing more updates, and we're working on outreach to get it done. You know, the first dates here are we've got a couple of meetings here beforehand before those candidate filing periods begin in February.
I think the key things that I would add, because it's so different this year, is that you have to ahead of time register. Everyone will have to do a registration ahead of time. That's why the registration period is so important. Before, we always registered the day of the vote. And then you'll get sent in the mail your ballot. And you can either fill it out and they will give you a postage paid return envelope. And so you can just mail it back. Or on that one date, that election day itself, you can drop it in the Dropbox. So that's going to be the alternative.
Now, and just one brief point of clarity too on that we did ask in our meeting was our concern for those who may not have access to online registration. There are going to be provided paper applications to some locations to service those without internet access. And it looks like we're still trying to figure out what those locations will be, and we might have to involve outreach in that.
And I would suggest if someone has ideas where they think it should be in our area, that you send an email to Bron or myself. They don't seem inclined to put paper ballots at very many locations. And they have their own idea of what there should be, but they did say they would take suggestions from us. So if you have any thoughts, please let us know.
Diana and Bron, I just want to know if somebody fails to register, do they have just like a regular election on the day of the election? Can they get a provisional type thing? Or no, it's you have to have registered or picked up a hard copy ballot?
You have to have registered.
Okay, so wow.
You get a hard copy ballot, and there's a dead, I think it's a week before the election is, that election day is the cutoff for registration.
One of the students has asked, because Gwen said about you guys can vote. They're not talking about voting tonight on things. They're talking about voting on our neighborhood council election, which is actually next June. I know it seems crazy that we're talking about it now, but for any of you students who will be, you're eligible to actually run for seats also. So we will have a newsletter with candidate information at the end of January, beginning of February, that gets mailed to our area so students can learn more about it. And I guess, Diana, you're going to have we're going to talk about having a Zoom forum meeting where people who aren't sure about how to register to be a candidate or do they qualify, we're going to have a meeting like that. I assume we're going to work together. Okay.
Yeah.
So very briefly on that voting period is the vote by mail. If you look at the election timetable, the period will begin May 17th and then run to June 8th, 2021, with the election being on June 15th, 2021.
if I can just ask, are there multiple locations that can be considered? Well, I should actually say, where they'll actually pass out paper registration? As
Paper
opposed to-
registrations, I think we can get them to do 2 or 3 locations.
Okay.
Where the paper registrations would be available.
Okay, great, thank you.
I think, I mean, that was a little bone of contention between us and the city clerk's office.
All right, so Diane, unless there's anything else you want to add, just trying to move this along.
Not for me.
Yeah, it's kind of a moving target, and we'll provide updates as soon as we can, and have all this stuff posted on the website and everywhere we possibly can, so people know what to do and where to get it.
Okay.
Thank you guys for doing all this work.
You're really earning your paycheck now.
Yep.
Okay, planning and land use, Diana?
Yep, we have a couple of short items and then one longer item. So I'm gonna do the short ones first. Maybe Cheryl, you want to put up the draft letter regarding?
I would really appreciate it if you would go in order, because I've uploaded everything in order.
I believe we're gonna go in order.
Oh, yay.
I tried very hard to make sure that I put it in the order I wanted to talk about it in.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So I think it worked.
There we go.
So the first one is a letter that has to do with the Gappy Street Bridge, and that's Gappy Street Bridge is you sometimes don't think of it as a bridge. It's right there at the end of the 110 freeway between Summerlin and the end of the freeway. That's actually the Gappy Street Bridge. It's a beautiful old historic bridge that was built in the 1930s, but it's gone into quite amount of disrepair. And so the letter, which is directed to several people, is just asking them if they can come up with a way to restore that bridge, and also reminding them that we'd like them to restore the companion bridge, the Elberon Bridge, which we formally requested. So that's the letter, came out of committee. So open for questions and then voting. Ray, it's all yours.
No questions. Can we take the vote?
Rock,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Armando's back, Cheryl.
Armando,
Yes, I'm here. Not technical difficulties.
and your vote is
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Braun,
Oh, he stepped away.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Emphatic yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray. Ray. You
Yes.
cut out. Okay.
said yes.
Chris,
Yes.
thank you.
Next item.
Next item. The next item was to do a CIS in support of the city's alfresco dining fund. But in the meantime, the city council has passed that motion, so I don't think we need to act on it. So the next 2 items.
Oh, okay, so I'm sorry. So we're just eliminating that one?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
no reason to act on that at this point. It's passed city council, which is good news for those people that want to do alfresco dining and need some financial assistance. The next 2 items relate to corruption, and Alec is going to present those.
Okay, yeah. So this is, oh, wait.
Hang on, hang on.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
getting there.
Okay, so for this CIS, this would be to support the addition to the Los Angeles Municipal Code. This is in reference to the corruption that happened, and this is to give city council tools to rectify this to what happened already. So it would be the, what's it called? Applications by that happened in terms of planning and land use that already have been corrupted, where they will have hearings and we'll be seeing. Yeah, okay, yeah, they'll have hearings, they'll be given a notice, and then city council will deal with whether or not to revoke it or not.
depending on whether or not it has been seen that it has been affected by corruption. Are there any questions? I know, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're doing great. There
See no
are
hands up.
no questions, so we can take a vote.
Cheryl? Oh, wait a minute. Thank you, Rock, for your timely hand raising. Rock?
Thanks. What is the recourse now?
There isn't a recourse now. This
Yeah.
would create the recourse.
And then what is the level that they have to show that there's been an issue? And the only reason I ask is like, won't this just invite a lot of people to sort of, if they don't like a project, just say, hey, it's corrupt?
Well, that's why we're doing this. What I understand is that anyone that has been accused of a corruption will be notified, and then they get a chance to have a hearing in front of the city council to discuss whether or not there was corruption and how they would deal with it.
Does that answer your question, Rock?
A little bit.
Very good. I got a comment to make on that.
Any other questions?
I'm hearing Pat Nave.
Yeah. Corruption is a term that's applied to the elected official. And if they're corrupt, they're going to have to make their own standard on it. I suspect they would probably adopt something akin to the penal code description of corruption.
And
But that would be up to them.
It's right here in the ordinance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's defined in the ordinance.
So it really involves someone being paid off to approve a project.
That's what we're talking about here.
Okay.
There's another hand that came up. Chris?
Yeah, I just quickly, I say I agree with and support the principle. It does seem like, as written, it could potentially just cripple development because any and everyone could, it seems like you're leaving an open door to the accusation without much of a bar to establish any kind of merit of the case. It sounds like you're just going to get a hearing if the accusation is leveled. Again, and I don't know enough about their internal processes, but it seems like, you're creating a platform for frivolous complication of the development process, which, not that I'm in favor of the current system, but I just see that as a potential unraveling of whatever good work this thing might otherwise do.
Yeah, I can think they kind of brought it on themselves, didn't they?
I mean, yeah, we shouldn't
Absolutely.
really use it anyway.
Okay, I see Gwen's hand up.
But the CIS itself is saying we support the development of an office.
This is the development of, no, not this one. Look at the CIS that's up on the board.
Well, that one it's rectifying something that has already been identified.
Yes.
So it's the solution which has never been addressed. So I mean, if somebody is busted, they're busted on it. I mean, there is a particular scenario which this is addressing, but this is actually trying to get the monies back, correct?
No, it's saying that it's possible that the development won't go forward if there was corruption involved, which is what happened. We had a couple of cases where there was a real payoff. And so rather than rewarding the payoff, it's saying that the city council can decide to terminate the project instead, and they'd have to reapply with new rules.
But there's no parameters.
You have two other hands up now. Cynthia?
I agree with Chris, because if somebody is accused of doing something wrong and they're in the middle of the planning application, then they lose the planning application time period and they might lose the whole project because of that. If they weren't guilty of anything, then they're out of money for nothing.
From my
Because
understanding, this would, oh, sorry. Do you have something to say?
Go ahead, Alex.
That was it.
From my understanding from this, it's mainly to pertain to what already happened. Of course, it's going to you can still accuse, but it's not going to be like from what I've read, it's not if you come on the street, go into court and just say this or say that they did that. They actually have to go through like an actual hearing, and they have to like actually have some kind of proof that there's something went on.
Yeah, and
You have another hand up with Jan Kane. Go ahead.
Yes, yes, that's what I was going to ask is like, is there any kind of parameters or criteria or something for finding out if there is actually corruption? I mean, I don't see anything that says like how they actually find out.
so this is what the actual ordinance wording says. The proceedings to revoke shall be initiated by the introduction of a council motion upon receipt by the city council of a written communication from the mayor or controller notifying the city council of information indicating corruption or fraud related to that particular development project. So it's a pretty high bar. It is either the mayor or the controller telling the city council that there has been corruption. And that's what would initiate this kind of proceedings. It's not just somebody out in the public saying it.
I see.
Thank
But
you.
I could just call up the mayor and say, hey, I got a problem with this thing, and, you know, a process could be started, so.
No, you have to have information and evidence.
We need to move it, so,
Yeah.
Seeing no other hands up. Cheryl, would you take the vote count, please?
Can you confirm it's out of committee? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Rock.
No.
Armando. Armando. John.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Armando. Mary.
Yes.
Braun.
Yes.
Cynthia.
No.
Gwen.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Jan.
No.
Melanie.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Alec.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Next.
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 Alec, I think you said there were
yeah.
2 items you were going to cover.
Yes. This is also in relation to the corruption that happened, and this would be to support the development of an Office of Anti-Corruption. And this is obviously to make sure that there's no more quid pro quo happening as much as it happens than it already had. And it's going to be mainly with land use, because usually that has to do a lot with the money. And from my understanding is that they're basing this off of already established department or offices, like the one in Chicago, where they let me see right here. It works to look at alleged wrongdoings, audits, city programs, to see if there's any misconduct, waste, public hearings, and it works with a budget that's protected by retaliation, and sometimes it can work with other offices in order to deal with like investigations.
Okay. Out of committee, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion?
No hands.
No hands. Cheryl, would you please call the vote?
Rock. Rock.
I'll go ahead and vote, but I was just gonna say, isn't it interesting, we're defunding the police and we're adding an office?
Rock, it's a yes or no. It's not a commentary time.
Okay, no.
Armando.
No.
John.
Yes.
Mary. Mary.
Yes.
Braun.
No.
Cynthia.
No.
Gwen.
Yes.
Lori. Lori.
I said yes. Yes.
Jan,
No.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray,
No.
Chris.
No.
7-7.
Does not pass. Okay, thank you, Alec. Good job there. The next one is, and I'm glad Armando's back for this one. It's a resolution in support of a House and Senate resolution designating the Battleship Iowa as the National Museum of the Surface Navy. And so Senators Feinstein and Harris and Congresswoman Berrigan have introduced bills in their respective houses to designate the Battleship Iowa as the National Museum of the Surface Navy. And this proposed resolution then would support that legislation. It's not renaming it, it's just designating it as this, the museum. There is no such museum now, and the Navy has agreed that this is the appropriate place for it to be. That's it. Questions?
So I do have a question. Is there any funding or money attached to this?
Not to this per se, but the designation then probably makes them more open to receive money, but there's no money attached in the specific legislation.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Cynthia?
I read an article that the people from the USS Iowa wrote, and they said that this will actually help them get some funding.
Right.
Yeah,
So
That would be my interest. That's
they
what I
they
was
want to
saying.
have it. They appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Gwen?
This would be federal funding, correct?
Well, this resolution does not provide any funding. What it does, however, is it puts them in a better position to receive funding from a variety of sources. It could be federal funding, it could be from a foundation. I mean, they will have to apply for appropriate levels of funding, but it puts them in a better position to receive it.
Thank you.
No other hands raised, Diana.
Okay. Ray, you want to call the vote?
Carol, would you please call the vote?
Certainly. Rock,
Yes.
Armando,
Yeah.
John,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the last item is the proposed reconstruction of the 7-Eleven at Capitol and Gappy. If you could turn it to page 6, just for, oh, all right, well, we'll go to that. This is the proposed reconstruction of the 7-Eleven at Capitol and Gappy with the addition of 4 gas bays. The Planning and Land Use Committee discussed this at 4 different meetings. Now go to page 6.
I don't.
Oh, no,
I
that was
can't.
it. What, back one. That one. That one is the best one to show the proposal. Planning and Land Use Committee discussed this at 4 different meetings. And you may recall, we also had a presentation of the plans at a full board meeting in order to gather comments from the board and committee. So we've spent quite a bit of time looking at this, and we've had a lot of discussion. The Planning Committee looked at a number of issues, including the location of the store on the property, the safety of the proposed tanks, the travel route for the gas delivery, lighting, landscaping, the possibility of solar and EV charging, and then some related issues. We reviewed the traffic study and the soil study. We looked at earthquake safety and leakage from the underground tanks because we thought those were potential issues. We learned that the modern tanks are made of double-walled fiberglass and are not corrosive, and that they are now built to move with the earth. So that similar tanks have been examined following the last few major earthquakes, and no leakage was detected. The tanks do do have, however, a real-time monitoring system in case there were to be leakage. Even though that doesn't seem to be a problem, they still do have that. With regard to the question that was asked about the interaction with the Clearwater project, they are separated by a significant distance. The Clearwater will be going under the Target side of the street and will actually be much deeper than these tanks. So both Clearwater and 7-Eleven felt there was just no chance that there would be any interaction of the two. Through all of this, the applicant's representative has been extremely responsive to all our questions and ideas, but he's not here tonight, and which really surprised me because I thought he would be to answer questions. So after a great deal of discussion and information gathering, the committee adopted the recommendations in the letter. And Cheryl, if you put up the letter supports the store and gas space with a number of conditions, most of which have been agreed to by 7-Eleven. Before I do that, I do want to say that a gas station is allowed at this location by right. 7-Eleven needs approval of the project design for consistency with the community plan implementation overlay, the CPIO. That is the design standards that were adopted with the community plan. They also need approval to continue selling beer and wine for off-site consumption and to continue to be open 24 hours, both of which are currently grandfathered in. So the letter supports the store with the gas bays with a number of conditions that they have agreed to. The first thing is that the sale of beer and wine would be limited to the hours of 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. And after that, it would be locked up. That the fuel delivery tanker trucks will not travel on Capitol Drive. And I will come back to that, but that was something we had brought up at our board meeting. They've agreed not to go on Capitol Drive except turning the corner. 7-Eleven will construct a crosswalk on the east leg of the intersection of Capitol Drive and Berrywood with a handicap wheelchair ramp on the south side of Capitol Drive by Harbor Highlands Park. This would be a community benefit that they are voluntarily agreeing to. The gas bays will include underground conduit for possible future construction of one or more EV charging stations. They weren't willing to agree at this time to the EV charging stations, but they were willing to put in the conduit so that they could potentially add them. The applicant will post signs on the property prohibiting loitering, excessive noise, and street vending in the parking lot. So something we're particularly concerned about that location. The applicant will file an LAPD trespass arrest authorization prior to opening the new store. 7-Eleven would maintain closed circuit television systems, security cameras inside and outside the store, providing surveillance coverage to the entire property, including the Capitol Drive side of the building. The Capitol Drive side was suggested by our senior lead officer. The use of the property will be in a manner to allow the quiet enjoyment of the surrounding neighborhood. The applicant will provide the city and the neighborhood council with a 24-hour emergency contact. The neighborhood council and the city council, that all graffiti on the site would be removed or painted over to match the color of the surface to which it's applied within 24 hours of the occurrence. That there would be a manager on duty during all operating hours, which is 24 hours, and a minimum of 2 employees present at all times. So right-of-way dedication, you may recall that they're required to dedicate a strip of right-of-way both along the Capitol Drive side and the Gappy side. And we don't want that right-of-way to become an eyesore. So this condition would require 7-Eleven to either pave or landscape it and maintain it until such time as the city takes action to use it for other purposes, which could be years down the road, but in the meantime, they would be required to keep it up. They would provide attractive signage to discourage contributions of food or money to persons soliciting such contributions from customers visiting the premises. This is something they told us that they have found effective in other areas and were agreeable to doing. That the property would be kept clean and free of litter inside and outside at all times. That's something we learned from our experiences with Target. So those are conditions that the applicant has agreed to. In addition to that, we have 3 additional requests as a committee. The first one has to do with the delivery of fuel, and we have asked that they restrict the hours of the fuel delivery to be between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. to reduce the possibilities of an accident. The next thing has to do with the route for the tanker trucks. You may recall they originally proposed coming from Capitol Drive, and as you saw above, they have agreed now not to do that. So they had their traffic engineer look at 2 other possible routes, both of which involved entering from Gappy and exiting onto Capitol. So one was going northbound on Gappy, the other was going southbound on Gappy, and the consultant found that both routes were feasible. However, our committee has now requested that they go back and look at a 3rd possibility, and that would be to enter the station by going southbound on Gappy, turning right onto Capitol, and then left into the station, and then exiting southbound onto Gappy. So whichever route is ultimately chosen may result in some restriping of Gappy and or Capitol. The 3rd thing that we've asked them to go back and look at is solar. We initially asked them to look at solar on the building, but when they came back and showed us there really was not any sufficient room on their building to do solar, we then asked them to look at putting solar on the gas bay canopy. They came back and responded that solar did not pencil out, but one of our members actually had pictures of other gas stations that had installed solar on their canopies. And we've asked them to go back now and further explore the possibility of placing solar panels on the gas bay canopy. And if this letter were adopted, these 3 things that we've just discussed would be a part of our comments that we would then make and ask to be included as conditions, whether the fuel delivery and the solar would be included as conditions. We would ask that they be included as conditions. So that concludes my presentation. The motion before you is to approve the letter. So with that, Ray, I stand open to questions and
Ray,
comments.
Thank you, Diana. I have 2 hands raised on the panelist side and 2 on the attendee side.
Ray, I can't raise my hand because I'm a co-host.
Okay, so there's 3 on
Yeah.
the panel side. But what I'd like to do is Diana, if I could, I'd like to ask a couple of questions, but they're very quick answered questions. How many times have we seen this item show up either on planning and land use and our committee? I mean,
5 times. This is the 6th time.
The 6th time, okay. And do you happen to have an estimate as to how many pieces of input that you have received, between planning and land use and also our neighborhood council meetings?
Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean by pieces of input. We've spent the members of the committee spent a lot of time at each of those meetings.
And we did receive community comment on this?
Very little, almost none, actually.
And every time this showed up, if you reviewed it on planning and land use, as we did in the neighborhood council,
Yes.
it was on the agenda for the community to see, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's start off with the hands that are up. I'll start with Gwen, Rock, and then Lori.
Just a quick question. You mentioned fiberglass, or not fiberglass, the actual tanks are a new design.
Yes.
Material. Was there a thorough geological survey of the area as far as liquefaction zone and that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, there was a soils report, and it is right near a liquefaction zone. I don't know if it's actually in it, but that's why the tanks are designed to move with the earth, which was interesting because it wasn't a question of what. Our question was, were they designed to withstand a 7.0 or an 8.0 or 9.0? They said that really wasn't a relevant question because of the way they're designed, it didn't matter how much the earthquake was because they would move with the earthquake and therefore they would not rupture. Which just interesting.
Rock?
Yeah, great synopsis, Diana, because there's a lot of stuff there, as we all know. We have spent a lot of time. This has been, since I've been on planning and land use, the most scrutinized project I've seen. But I'll tell you what, we're going to get one pretty nice modern gas station. Might want to worry about the other ones, not so much this one. I do think it will beautify. So we have spent a lot of time on this. The developer has been very responsive, has heeded some of our suggestions, and so I'm glad that we're at this juncture.
Lori?
Well, congratulations to your team, Diana, because this is one of the most thorough presentations I've seen in a long time. You've asked all the questions, we've sought out community input, we've done great outreach on getting answers. You've laid out conditions that matter to everybody. It sounds like this has been a great collaborative effort, that they listened and they didn't try to push back. They said, okay, you know, there were a few things they didn't agree to, but they said, let us at least see, let us evaluate it. And from what I've read, this is going to be a flagship 7-Eleven. And I think it could be nothing but a great addition, you know, since removing kind of an old dilapidated store and adding one that is a lot fresher and meeting the needs of our community, especially as far as the safety. So thank you for sticking with it with all those meetings and going to all of that detail, reaching out to the community. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go to the attendee side. There were two hands up, one of them from Peter Burmeister and the other one from Victor, but Peter's hand is not up any longer. In fact, I don't even see him.
He's on there. He's just hands just not up.
His name is on here? I don't
Yes.
see it.
Yes.
Yeah, he's on there.
His hand is back up again.
There it is. Okay. Okay, so let's go with Victor, and then Peter, you're next.
I just have a quick, I guess, clarification. Your first bullet says no travel on Capitol Drive. Two of the last bullets say they come in on Capitol and turn in from there, or they turn out on Capitol. To keep from having any confusion from whoever might see this letter, I think you need to say something, you know, minor change to that first bullet, saying something like no travel on Capitol Drive west of the entrance to 7-Eleven or something to that effect.
I'll be glad to add that. It's interesting because the actual language was the one suggested by their consultant. And I noticed that too. And I finally decided that travel meant travel, not just turning on. But I think west of the entrance, it really will help clarify it.
So are you making a motion for Cheryl to go in and she has it up in Word. She can make that change right now.
I'll just change it, Lori. We'll just accept that because it goes with what it goes with the intent of the sentence.
Okay, great.
Okay, Peter, you're up. Peter? Peter, unmute yourself.
3, 2.
Peter, you are muted. If you're talking, we cannot hear you.
Lori, can you unmute him from your
I
end?
all I can do is ask him to unmute, and I've done it 3 times.
Okay.
Peter?
Ray, the only thing else I could try is moving him to panelist to see if that fixed. Or, what do you want me to do?
Can you move him to panels, or I'll do it?
Let me try.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah, there he goes.
Okay.
Okay, good. Number one, I'd like to thank Jason for the report for the electric. And I'd like to say at the last meeting, the land use meeting, planning and land use meeting, the developer threw in one thing, what has to be considered, that is they also have a diesel pumping there. when diesel trucks go in and filling up. And we're fighting the diesel for years over there in that area. It's a nice design and I'm for the building and everything, but we have to table the subject matter due to the fact more study has to be done, safety and health, and that comes first. And I like to see that sustainability look into that also, because there's a lot of people with asthma and air pollution in our area. And we're fighting that for years, and that has to be more studied. So I like to table the subject matter for a while and do more study on it due to the fact, health reason and safety reason. And the sustainability should look into that also, because they know how many years we fight in the air in that particular area. So otherwise, we afford a building and everything, but on the last meeting, that never was brought up that they're gonna have diesel there. And even the port is fighting it, and we have the railroad tracks, the diesel trucks, locomotives going by there, and we're fighting them too. And I like to see that we table it and don't take a vote and do some more studies on it before we vote on it. Thank you.
Any comment, Diana?
No,
Okay.
not really.
I see no other hands up, no other questions to be asked. I think we can call for the vote. Cheryl, please.
Rock,
Yes.
Armando,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Cynthia,
No.
Gwen,
Yes to the letter, no to the gasoline tanks.
Lori,
I'm sorry, was that a yes or a no from Gwen?
was a yes.
It was a
Lori,
yes.
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Melanie,
I have to abstain. I'm in within 500 miles or 500 yards.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see.
Public
Next item is community issues committee. And I know Dan's not here, but let me kind of jump to John Barbera. Is there anything that needs to be said, or?
Yeah, if you bring it up, there's just a couple of, just two items on
What
there.
up? Bring what
The
up?
the
The
minutes
issues
from
meeting.
the issues meeting minutes.
Just a moment.
Okay. Sorry, my wheelchair was backing up. Okay. There's a couple of items on here. Number 3, providing handicap parking spot for the sidewalk of Detune Street. We're looking into that. Dan has been looking into that, to having that, so it makes it easier for people in wheelchairs and stuff that need, like, walkers and stuff to. We're going to continue on this to the next meeting and see if what can happen with that. And the other one is we're continuing to monitor the Navy exploration on that DFSP property on Gappy. He's got a couple of calls out there and we're waiting for some answers back. And for the rest of it, that's pretty much it. So it was just those 2 items.
Ray,
Yes.
I wanted to mention that our board got a letter from somebody interested in buying a home at Ponte Vista. But they were concerned about the fuel depot down below, and so they wanted to know, is there ever going to be fuel there? Dan's going to field that, but at this point, we can't even answer that. Just kind of interesting that a potential homeowner is seeing that as a concern. Just wanted to.
That may be because they were required to disclose that.
Yeah, well, she looked up some reports and sent us an email and said, should I be concerned?
Yeah.
Just mentioning it.
Okay, so appreciate that. There's no other, I see no questions or anything, no hands raised. So let's move on to the next one, which is public safety. Melanie?
Okay. Whoopsie. The letter, restructure letter, there we go. So we took all of the recommendations that everybody had, that we really, nobody showed up to the meeting, the email went out with all the letter and nobody responded. So I took notes at our meeting when it was sent back to committee. And so we took those notes that I had and then went through and kind of reworked the letter to a one-page letter and condensed it down. And this is what we came out of committee with.
Melanie, I did respond to you with just a couple of grammatical things, but you know.
After the fact.
Yeah.
You can do the, she got the word document if you want to do the friendly amendment to the grammatical things that you wanted to change. Or I can send them over to you and just accept them.
Yeah, next time if you could number the bullet points so that we can refer to which one we're talking about, but mainly it's the 1, 2, 3, fourth one down where on more focus on community policing. It says educating the community and the elderly, kind of like the elderly are not part of the community.
So
Yeah.
tell Cheryl what it is to fix it, and because she has the Word document.
Cheryl, where it says the last part of the sentence, educating the community, it should say, apparently, according to Melanie, and focus on the elderly, not just the community and elderly.
Did you say the
You see
fourth?
it on the screen, right?
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, fifth bullet point down. Sorry, that's why I need numbers.
Yeah, okay. More focus on community policing with focus on de-escalation and conflict resolution, educating the community.
And then comma with a focus on the elderly.
Community and
with a focus on the elderly, because otherwise it sounds like the elderly are not part of the community.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Which makes sense.
Just wanted Melody to know I read her letter.
And then the bullet points, Cheryl, are you able to go in and change those to numbers? The bullets to numbers?
you can see what I've got, that I have it on the screen, yes?
No.
Or okay, sorry.
No, we don't see you making any changes, but we see it on the screen.
Okay, well, I can fix that.
Okay.
Let me make sure I'm doing it right. Oh, goodness gracious, where is that? This one. Doop. Okay. I changed, so now
look at
5
that.
reads the
Yes,
community,
that's perfect.
and
Yeah.
with a focus on the elderly,
Yeah.
partnering with them and building trust, and I numbered them.
Yeah, the other changes were just minor, Melanie. I'm fine with just those 2 changes.
Okay. So
Could I offer another suggestion?
Okay.
The use of the term elderly. Could
Oh
we
yeah, I'm sorry. I did tell her not to use that either.
Maybe just senior.
Seniors.
What's the difference between a senior and an elderly person, Ray? Where do we fit?
Seniors or senior citizens?
About 5 years.
Just seniors is fine. About 5 years.
Geez, I thought it was dentures.
That could be seniors in high school.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did say to mention to change
that
it.
was the other thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is out of committee. And so any other discussion, does anybody else have any input on this? There's a hand, Gwen.
In regards to the line about a prohibition on chokeholds, etc., the Los Angeles Police Department already did a ban on bar chokeholds. I'm not sure that actually is something that's relevant to this police department. Does anybody know of a record of that still occurring?
They barred the chokeholds, but they didn't bar the strangleholds or the carotid restraints. And so that we just decided to add all of that in.
Okay. Cynthia?
I have an issue with almost the entire letter because I was a law enforcement officer for 33 years with 4 different agencies in the federal government. And I've dealt with a lot of arrests of people that have guns and people that were on drugs. And it's hard to tell somebody what to do after something happens when that same person had just a split second to make a decision on what to do. That's one issue I have. And then the second one is that LAPD Chief Moore has already said 2 days ago that they are taking 235 officers out of homicide and robbery and air support and a couple of other places to place them on the road so that they could be talking and moving around with the community. So this might be a moot letter right now.
Not really, because there's a lot, there's a CIS out there right now regarding all of this about how the money's going to be spent. And so we need to have input on it, number one. And number two, Cynthia, you voted for this letter. You helped edit it.
I voted for the change of the letter. The first letter was really bad. I voted for this, but I still have an issue with this because I think the police are doing a good job. I support them. I don't think we should be I'm not a layman, but the other people are laymen. If you haven't been an officer and you haven't had a gun pointed at your face when they're going to blow your way, you don't know how you're going to react. And you can't tell somebody how to react when they don't even have but a split second to make a decision.
See, my opinion is that if we don't say anything and we let things happen and don't input on this budget, the way that they're funding things, then we just have to take what.
But they've already done it. They did it 2 days ago.
January is when a lot of it starts to happen.
I appreciate the debate, but we're bringing up points. Thank you, Cynthia, for your comments and your perspective. I see another hand by Chris.
It's 9 o'clock.
Okay, as quickly as I can. I think in general, as members of the community, lay people or not, whether or not we are intimately familiar with the craft of police work, we have a right and a responsibility to ask for the type of services that we feel we need, and then let policymakers parse what they're capable of doing or willing to do, or whatever. Any kind of negotiation, you have to ask for more than 100% of what you want because you don't get everything. Second, to Cynthia's point, you don't have to be a police officer to understand the threat of violence against you, even from a police officer towards a civilian. So it's not something of which law enforcement officers have some kind of monopoly as to the experience of violence in the street, often being the ones for whom from which the force is projected. So it's not a monopoly on any kind of a perception of a threat. We need to ask for the standards that we want to see demonstrated in our community and then put it on them. They're the professionals. They're the ones who should be able to do this job. And if they can't, then they can find other work.
Rock?
I just wanted to say I sort of agree with Cynthia's position. And Chris, that was well said as well. But thank you for your comments, Cynthia.
When
I wasn't done with my carotid comment on the stranglehold.
Okay, you have 10 seconds to finish your comment.
Right. It looks like there already is a moratorium on the carotid hold, and there is a concerted effort. Decker, Police Chief Decker, is they've already suspended it, and they're doing a significant investigation. Can we change this possibly? I'm putting a motion out there to say we support the police department's serious analysis on the prohibition on these, and that we prefer that they not be used, something along that nature. I would feel more comfortable with this than saying a prohibition. I say we support their automatic moratorium on all of this and their deep analysis on on it, and with the idea of prohibiting it, if possible.
Thank you. Okay, I'm hearing an amendment to the motion.
Oh, no, that was no amendment. If you want to make an amendment, Gwen, please make an amendment.
That was a motion. That was a motion for an amendment.
Well, did you write it down? I had no idea. I can't follow that when you do that.
All over the place.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I need you to be much more specific and concise. And if you're actually going to make that as a motion, please. I have no way of following that. I'm sorry.
We support the, hold on, I got to bring it back up again. Sorry.
I'll screen share it if you tell me where to put it and so
Bear
forth
with
and so.
me.
I need way
Sorry,
more. To...
I had it.
Hang on, I'll get it.
No, don't screenshot. No, we support.
Where do
We
you want
support
that?
the LAPD. We support the LAPD
No,
moratorium.
Wait, where do you want that?
Number two.
On
Two is what she's talking
the
about.
second line, prohibition
Number
of
two?
chokeholds.
Okay.
Yeah, number 2.
I'm gonna.
Sarah, why don't you type in, oh, there you go, thank you.
The prohibition taken out. She wants it changed to we support.
No, we support the moratorium on carotid restraint and the rest of this, the whole list. By
wait, what? That's not a motion. We support the moratorium. Come on, I'm typing.
Of chokeholds, strangleholds, and carotid restraints.
Okay, so she's saying she wants this
and
to go.
And Eileen Decker's, Police
Here.
Commission President Eileen Decker's.
Oh, wait.
review.
Okay, wait. We support the moratorium of the prohibition. Wait.
No. Yeah. The moratorium on chokeholds, strangleholds, and carotid restraints.
But take out prohibition.
Jeez, just.
Okay.
Yeah,
I do have to say that if this should have really been done when asked for changes.
But
All right.
there are several attempts for change.
Exactly.
We support the moratorium on chokeholds and so forth.
Chokeholds, no. And the immediate review of the department's policy regarding these restraints.
I'll fix it later.
And
of the department, no. And the immediate review of the department's
more. And the review of the department's policy regarding.
Wait. And the immediate review of the review.
Immediate review of the department's policy regarding the use of these restraints. And semicolon, with the idea that these be retired or prohibited in the future. With the goal.
Which is it?
With the goal of finding alternate solutions to restraint.
You know, with the goal of finding alternative what?
Solutions to restraint.
Is there a second for that?
Yes.
Okay, we need a second.
It would be multiple. It'd be an S. Restraints.
Okay, I'm hearing something in the background.
Melanie is just helping me type it out. Okay, so is there a second for this?
I'll second it.
And who is that?
Melanie.
Melanie, okay. Any discussion? Okay, can we take a vote on the amended motion?
Rock,
Abstain.
Armando,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Ron, I'll go back to
Looks
Brian.
like Ron left the meeting. He had his hand up. Maybe he was trying to tell us he needed to leave.
What time do you suppose that was?
It was like,
Said I'm out.
like just a couple minutes ago.
He said I'm out. He hit 9 and he said I'm out.
Cynthia? Cynthia? Is she gone also?
No.
Oh, I'm here. Yes.
Yes?
I mean, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
No.
was stunned. That's why I repeated myself. You were
We're just
repeating.
voting on the amendment.
Right.
Okay.
No, okay. Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
thank you, broke up. Jan,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris.
No.
Motion passes.
Okay, so now we need to vote on the amended motion. Any discussion? No discussion? Okay. Cheryl, would you please take the vote?
Okay, Rock,
That's thing.
Armando,
Yeah,
that was yes.
yes.
John,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Mary, thank you. Braun,
He left at 9.
oh, that's right. Sorry, he's gone. Just cross him out. Cynthia,
No.
Gwen, Gwen, come back to her. Lori,
Yes.
Jan,
No.
Melanie,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Alec,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay. Thank you. So anything else for public safety, Melanie?
Next meeting though, we're gonna be talking about, EMD and talking about a CIS for funding for EMD. I just got a bunch of information from them that is a big thing going on where they're trying to take all the money from emergency preparedness. So it's gonna be a big deal.
Thank you, Melanie, on working on this letter.
Okay, thank you.
Ray, are we going to make a motion to extend the time of the meeting?
It's 9:10. God. I'd like to, with your all permission, maybe extending the meeting for another, to end, hard ending time at 9:30.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
If I have your permission.
I second.
Yes.
I'm hearing no one saying no, so we're gonna end it wherever we're at 9:30. Thank you all. So let's go to sustainability.
Okay, I'll try to be brief. For those of you who don't know the background, the Rancho LPG tanks have been there's a long history of us having letters and communications with different agencies, governmental groups, etc. And right now, what we have here is a resolution that kind of culminates all of our letters and a lot of documents that have been compiled. And essentially, we have a series of whereas clauses that address a lot of these different communications. And essentially, what we're asking for is, well, you know, Beirut and that explosion. what occurred with Beirut was negligence. Everybody passed the buck. A ship came in with ammonium nitrate, and they didn't know what to do with it because it was just abandoned there. So it was decided to put it into a warehouse, and then all of the agencies that had responsibility for this volatile explosive material kept passing the buck, and it finally blew up. And so what we do have a bit of concern here is that we have a lot of different agencies that have been requested by everybody from LAUSD, San Pedro Peninsula Homeowners United, ourselves as an entity, the neighborhood council, to look at the risk management assessments to address the tanks and their danger to the community, and everybody passes the buck. So we're pretty much with all of these whereases is saying that, well, with the advent of the Beirut explosion, and with the advent of an additional fault line having been identified within our community, and with a series of studies that have been done that have differing answers as to the explosive content of this of these tanks, we would ask all of the different agencies, government entities, the governor, the mayor, you name it. We've got Nanette Barragon, who has expressed interest in this, all of them to take responsibility and look at its actual danger, because what it is right now is completely unsatisfactory. So if anybody has any questions, I could either read through this, or is that pretty much understanding what it's about?
Okay, this is out of committee.
Yes, it's out of committee.
Any discussion? I am not seeing any hands up.
Fantastic.
So with that said, Cheryl, would you be so kind as to take the vote count?
Rock?
This is for the resolution, or the resolution and the letter.
Abstain.
Well, I do need to know which one. I was only.
This is for the resolution. Yeah.
Which is this 4-page event?
Yeah, this is, yes, correct. Whereas.
Yeah, yes.
Armando?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ron is gone. Cynthia?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Alec?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And then the letter, which is just a follow-up. It's a cover letter for this. And again, it's addressed to the five individuals there, including the LAUSD, which has asked for an analysis based on the danger to students. And then there's a series of CCs that will be included, and those groups will be everything from the Pacific Rail line that transports tanks across that rail spur to and through a portion of the port to Nanette Barragon. All of them have an association with these tanks and have a responsibility with the risk assessment. So
Gwen, I do have a question.
yes.
Is this letter a cover letter to the motion we just passed?
It is.
It is, okay.
It's a cover letter.
So, because we don't have that on the agenda, so I just want to make sure that we make that there's a clear understanding that this is a cover letter to the.
Yes, it's a cover letter.
But we can't vote on it if it's not on the agenda.
It was on the agenda.
Ray just said it wasn't.
I'm not seeing
It is not.
do we really have to vote on a cover letter for something?
That's my point. If it's a cover letter, I don't see that we have to vote on it. If
Thank
it's
you.
Because it's redundant.
Yeah.
Why do we even need a cover letter? I don't understand.
You know what? This is quite an extensive, just let me say, it's quite an extensive motion. And I think as we have asked prior in other documents, you know, like an executive summary, this cover letter acts as that executive summary.
How many CCs do you have?
Who asked the question?
Cynthia asked Gwen how many CCs she has.
Sorry, am I on mute? No.
No.
We can hear you.
I forwarded the list to you. Bear with me.
I can't
Well,
remember how many there were. You
Well,
gave
to
it
the
us
board, to
before
the board members, not to Cheryl. Cheryl, I'll forward you.
I'll need both of the
Yeah,
items in
before the
Word.
meeting.
Sorry.
Okay.
And I'll have the addresses to you as well. And actually now I see what happened. Lori, you had made my motion, you had abbreviated it and you gave it just one single sentence where I actually specifically said the letter and the resolution.
If the letter and the resolution are in your agenda packet, that's fine under sustainability. It doesn't need to be listed on the board agenda. It's all part
They
of
are
the
on the
stakeholder.
website.
Because of time, I think we should just move on.
But nobody's answered the question of how many CCs there are.
Were the CC, you said the CC were in part of the package?
No, it was not. She sent an email about an hour and a half before the meeting with a list of CCs.
Oh,
Bear with me. I'm still trying to open it up here.
Because there are quite a few.
Yes.
We just need to get it to Christina. She's the one who sends out the letters.
No, Cynthia does, doesn't she?
No.
Oh,
Let's see.
we have 21 minutes.
1, 2.
Never mind, then I'll withdraw my question if it's going to take too long.
I mean, if you can just share the screen, you'll see it right away. That's the CC.
You mean the ones on top?
No, she sent the CC in an email this afternoon. It wasn't in the original one.
If you can share my screen, you can just take a look.
All righty.
Am I on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
You are.
that's it.
It says that the host has disabled screen sharing. So why don't we
Okay.
just move on? It's going to take too long.
Now I'm
Joanne, I'm making you a co-host. You can share your screen, I believe.
Okay, share screen.
So please make it.
And here, there we go. That's it.
Well, I don't know about others, but I don't see it.
I don't either.
You don't. Oh, here,
Yeah.
sorry. There's one more button. I apologize. That's it.
There we go.
Oh my goodness.
See, it's all of the entities that
Okay.
have had responsibility.
Okay, but next time this needs to be included with the original letter. You can't send something an hour before the board meeting and just add stuff to it.
Well, then do I need to motion for the amendment?
No, let's just go. It's too late.
All right, thank you.
We've already, and Cheryl, take note that Braun left at 9 and Rock left at 9:20.
thank you.
Okay, let's move on.
How do I
Future for everyone, let's not do it this way in the future.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
Yeah. And
okay. So we're down to youth and outreach.
Well, we didn't vote on the letter.
Oh, yeah, we didn't.
What?
I thought we did. Did we
No.
not?
No, we didn't.
You've only taken,
we voted.
in my understanding,
I
for
thought
the
we
resolution.
agreed that since it's a cover letter, it's going to be all part of the thing.
Oh, so you agree that we don't have to vote on the letter? Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, we already wrote on the letter.
Okay. I'll skip youth and outreach, but I'll just say I'd appreciate if people would look at the homelessness liaison report. There's a very interesting bill that was introduced by Congressman Ted Lieu, and there's information on a presentation on a new shelter in San Pedro by Abode Communities. So just take a look at it when you get a chance.
Christensen Science Center, Chris, or, well, John's not here. Anything?
There was a meeting which I was not able to attend. I thought John might be here. I'll look through the notes for that meeting for next month. I don't believe we'll meet again before then, but since the district is essentially shut down for in-person instruction, it would all be kind of future planning, of which I will condense later on.
Vic's got his hand up, Ray.
Yeah, Victor?
There are a lot more than what I'm going to say, but due to time, I'm just going to highlight a few. The construction on what used to be the reptile room in the kitchen, for those who remember it as that, and that building has been completed. The renovation and stuff. That room is now another classroom, so it is, as far as I can tell, no longer a kitchen and not a reptile room at this point. They did install some remote internet capability. They said they have to trench over to Johnston High School, community day school next door, to have what I'll call a permanent capability, but they do have remote internet capability now. Feed and Be Fed is still doing their soil mitigation and that kind of thing. They have volunteers there. Feed and Be Fed does every Monday from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. So if anybody wants to stop by and see what they need help with or anything like that.
Did we lose you, Victor?
Oh,
no, I still hear him.
You can hear him?
Yes.
Can you still hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
I can.
It must have been me. Sorry.
I'm trying to talk loud because I don't know exactly where the mic is on this computer. The volunteers are there from 9 to 12 every Monday. I know one thing they've started recently is a compost program. So if you want to stop by, find out what they need for compost. One thing they have always been able to use is the best thing for growing is fertilizer. So any droppings from herbivores, plant eaters only, not dogs, not cats, but just plant eaters. So if you're not sure if you have the right kind of droppings in your yard, then check with them first before you give it to them. Paula High School would like to plant some native milkweed there. I don't know if that's been approved or not, but that is an idea that they would like to do. And for those who don't know, milkweed is a favorite of the monarch butterfly. So that could help draw some monarchs in here and help with their repopulation. One other thing, the mural that was painted over because of the construction that had to be done, and the walls were falling apart and the mural was flaking and stuff like that. They are looking into redoing a mural. It sounds like it won't be the same as it was before, but they've talked to a local artist, Nicole Blackburn, and I don't know any details with that, but they are supposed to get back with us with more details at the next meeting. That's all I've got for the highlights.
Thank you. Mary, did I see your hand pop up? Go ahead, Mary. Unmute yourself.
Well, International Bird Rescue came to mind when you said that, Victor. Bird droppings.
Okay. Gwen, we got 4 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna screen share one item. Damn it.
Has to do with the Christensen Center?
Well, I thought he was done. I wanted to get something just in the last 4 minutes.
Okay, this is
So
okay.
this is a
Just want to
public-
make sure. I just want to make sure we're through with the Christensen Center. Okay.
So this is a comment on a non-agenda item?
Victor,
Correct.
thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate the input. So you have comments. Gwen, go ahead. And 3 minutes.
So for the students, there's a really important biodiversity symposium It's put on by LA Sanitation. They have a department called the Department of Biodiversity, and that's an extraordinary thing that's going on. Anyway, there's a 4-day symposium, and students can attend for like $10, which is an incredible deal and opportunity. But there's a series of really informative lectures and on the biodiversity project that the city of Los Angeles is doing. Essentially, every species that exists within the borders is being compiled and documented, and this is important for everything from future planning and land use development to you know, keeping and preserving the species that are within Los Angeles. We are one of the top 30 urban most biodiverse communities in the world. So that's something to be said. California is rich in animal and plant life, and Los Angeles is right up there. So this is a huge scientific thing, and it would be worth checking out some of the symposiums, so classes. That's it.
Thank you, Gwen. Okay, I got 9:29. I'd like to adjourn this meeting early. Take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Third.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Have
Good night.
have a very nice week. Have let's celebrate our veterans. They deserve it. And happy holidays. We're starting them up. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
Angelina.
I'm ending the meeting for everybody. See ya.
Ciao.